Broadway, listen to the Broadway beat. Broadway makes you want to move your feet. Everybody's tapping into everything that's happening on Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beats. Broadway beats.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway Beat. One of the biggest hits of the 1960s was the A. Burroughs comedy Cactus Flower. Well, the show is heading back to New York with its first major revival, starring Maxwell Caulfield, Lois Robbins, and Jenny Barber. It's directed by Michael Bush and will open March 10th at the West Side Theater.
James Burroughs, A. Burroughs' son, gave me two pieces of advice. The first piece of advice said, this is a key casting piece of advice. He said, you have to find a beautiful woman and plane her down. He said, you can't. He said, mistakes were made when people cast a plain woman and made her beautiful. He said, just won't work. Find a beautiful woman, plane her down. And the other piece of advice he gave me, which was at the very end of the conversation, and I said, what's your list? He said, don't fuck it up.
I've been entrusted with a wonderful opportunity by Michael Bush and Darryl Roth, and I'm very excited to have at it. And I'm glad we've got 4 weeks to get it right and 2 weeks of previews, because, you know, comedy is, it doesn't play itself. Even with this kind of dynamite language, we've got solid gold material. A. Burroughs is just a brilliant wordsmith, totally understands comic structure, and the show is going to barrel along like an express train with the grooviest score in town. I think audiences today are actually yearning for shows of this style. The well-made comedy that has a very satisfying conclusion and really takes you out of yourself and actually makes you believe in love.
A. Burroughs is the classic comic writer. They don't write like he did anymore. I always say this play, that the lines are so easy to learn because they come so trippingly off the tongue. He writes for actors, and he's a comic genius. I mean, there's no, you know, and to play a woman, to have the opportunity to play this woman and take this journey, which is so fantastic. I mean, there aren't a lot of roles like this written for women anymore. So he's a great writer, and it's an honor to speak his words.
The dialogue is incredible. I mean, A. Burroughs, you know, Guys and Dolls, you know, a million different, I mean, so many TV shows and whatever, kind of based on his writing. And so I just think the timing and the rhythm and the truth of the comedy is so fantastic. She's this kind of flower child in the 60s who works at a village record store, and, you know, she lives in the East Village. She's really cool. She's very independent. And she has this older boyfriend who is married, so she thinks he's married, and she sort of is dealing with the guilt of that, and he has to kind of come up with a wife because he's not actually married. Oh, Maxwell Caulfield, of course, dreamy man, so fantastic and lovely and easy to work with. Lois Robbins, who is just, I mean, she's super sexy and super smart, and, you know, kind of who I want to be and who I think Antoinette wants to be in the play as well. And we have a whole cast, ensemble of members of great character actors, and they're just fantastic. And some of them have done the show before at Capitol Rep, so they've been very welcoming and very sweet to me, coming in like, hello, okay, what is this show?
The premise of the show is that I'm a somewhat I think I've heard a description of him as being randy, but he's kind of a philandering fellow, a dentist on the Upper East Side, who is fast approaching middle age, if he isn't there already, and he certainly dates women. He enjoys his position as a available bachelor, but he does have a habit of telling this terrible lie that he's married, so thereby avoiding any kind of long-term serious commitment to the gals in question. And he has recently struck up a relationship with a young girl down in the village, which again sort of suggests that he is starting to have issues about aging and being somewhat in denial about it. So this gal is fully 3 decades younger than him, and it's a possible mismatch, particularly given that my assistant at the dental practice, Stephanie Dickinson, is right there under my nose, and I've been oblivious to her charms for years.
Stephanie is a very buttoned-up woman, but not for no reason. She's had a lot of hard luck in love. I play the nurse and assistant to Dr. Winston. And, you know, I'm described in the play as looking like a large Band-Aid. But what I've uncovered about her is that because she's had a lot of bad luck with married men, she's dated quite a few married men, she has decided to hide herself and hide her sexuality so that she doesn't have to deal with the comings on of men coming on to her. And it is through this lie that Julian tells and his asking me to become his wife when all of a sudden I get to become the woman that I am and end up with the man that I'm supposed to be with. I'm so lucky. I really am. Maxwell is a very giving, talented, handsome actor. We've just started. We're only in this together now 6 days, I think. And I'm in love with him already. It's going to be very easy to fall in love with him on stage. He's lovely.
I used to always say when I was working on new plays, which is what I've done most of my career, that one of the yardsticks I used in evaluating a play was, does it actually lead you to its destination? To where that play promised to take you, do you get there? And this one does in spades. And I think it's going to give people an opportunity to come out of a world that's not so easy right now and forget their troubles for 2.5 hours.
What more do you want than to, if you're going to spend the bucks, to spend a couple of hours off-Broadway, than to have a really good time and a lot of laughs? And that's what we're aiming to do, is honor the spirit of the show and deliver a first-class evening.